we are going to be talking about or looking at the subject time value of money. We're going straight to the calculations. How we should know how to calculate simple interest and other component of time value of money. Then when we are having the classes, I will give us the in-depth explanation of how it works. So now, the first component of time value of money we are going to be looking at is what? Simple interest. And how do you calculate simple interest? It's calculated as well. Interest equals to what? Principal times rate times what? Time. Interest equals to principal times rate times time. While your amount is calculated as principal minus what? Interest. But now, let us consider this. Interest equals to PRT. Now, A equals to P plus I. So we can build this formula in a more better and advanced way by saying A equals P plus our I, PRT, right? PRT. So A equals, now what is common here? P into brackets. P in P, and let's work 1 plus what? RT. So this is a more advanced way of calculating the what? Amount of your simple interest. So what's A? A is amount. What's P? Principal. What's I? Interest. What's R? Rate. And what's T? Time. So this will help us calculate what amount. Then A equals P minus what? I. Will help us calculate the what? For, let me say, I equals A minus P. Will help us calculate the value of interest. So let us look at the first illustration. Number 1. Mr. Kunde deposits a sum of 54,000 naira for 6 years in a bank, paying an interest rate of 10% per annum. Find the simple interest and the amount in his account at the end of the period. So, how much is Mr. Kunde depositing in the bank? How much? 54,000 naira. So it means that what the 54,000 naira represents the money with Mr. Kunde at that time. He wants to make that deposit. He wants to invest 54,000 naira. So, and money you have with you at the time of investment is known as your what? Principal. So principal is 54,000. Now, for 6 years, so the number of time the investment is to last is how many years? 6 years. So your T is what? 6 years. In the bank that pays an interest rate of 10%, so your R equals 10%. So, applying the formula, A equals P into bracket 1 plus what? RT. So, A will be what? What's our P? 54,000 naira into bracket 1 plus, what's our R? 10%, that's 0.1 times 6. So A is what? 54,000 into bracket 1 plus what? Now 0.1 times 6 give us 0.6. So A will be what? 54,000 into bracket 1.6. How did I get 1.6? 1 plus 0.6. 1.0 plus 0.6. So that is 1 plus 0 is 0 and 6. That's 0.6. So my A, which is my amount, will be calculated as 54,000 times 1.6. That is what? 86,400 naira. So it means that Mr. Kunle would be expecting a sum of 86,000 naira if he makes the investment of 54,000 naira into the bank for C. Okay, so this is the sum of money that Mr. Kunle will be expecting in his account when he makes an investment which was 54,000 naira for 6 years. So the number of years this 54,000 naira is to spend in the bank is 6 years. So at the end of 6 years, 86,400 is the total amount Mr. Kunle will be getting from the bank for investing the sum of 54,000 naira. So if Mr. Kunle should be expecting or should be getting 86,400 in the bank for 6 years. So what is the interest that has accumulated this 54,000 to make it 86,400? So how do we calculate interest? So interest is calculated as what? Amount minus principal. So interest is what is our amount? A. 86,400 minus what is our principal? Remember the money we invested at the beginning, 54,000. So interest is going to be what? 86,400 minus 54,000, 32,400. So this 32,400 naira is the interest that will be paid to Mr. Kunle for 6 years. Please take note, it's not an annual interest. Simple interest is not an interest that is paid annually. Simple interest is paid for the total number of years that investment is to be carried out by the investor. It is when we are dealing with compound interest that we pay the interest annually, then accumulate the interest into the second year's principal. So, but for simple interest, this amount of interest is for 6 years. So it means that 32,400 is not for the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year. No, it's for the whole 6 years of the investment. So that is the solution to the first question. We shall be going to the next question, number 2. Number 2, how long will it take? Now look at it. How long will it take? So the duration of time is going to take for a sum of money to double itself at 6% per annum interest. So this question is simply telling us to calculate for the what? Time. How long? That is, how many years will it take if I want to invest a sum of money that is at an interest rate of 6%? But if you look at it, we were not given the principal, but we were told that a sum of money to double itself. So it means that if we have our principal to double itself, it's going to be 2 times. That's P plus P equals 2P. How long will it take for a sum of money to double itself? So the sum of money, it is the amount we want to invest. How long will that amount double itself? So the amount is not known, but is our principal. So if our principal is to double itself, that will be times 2. That's P plus P. Or you say P times 2. That's 2P. Then our interest rate is 6%. So we solve. Remember, A equals P into bracket 1 plus RT is our formula. So our A will be 2P. 2P equals P into bracket 1 plus what is R? 0.06 times T. So we don't know our T. Our T is exactly what we are looking for. So that will be 2P equals P into bracket 1 plus 0.06 T. That's 0.06 times T, 0.06 T. Then, if you look at it, this is 2P, this is P, this cuts out this. Then I'm left with 2. It's just the same thing as saying 2p divided by p. Sorry, p. If 2p is going to divide p cuts it and left it to what? 2. So it is what I did here. So now equals what? 1 plus what? 0.06t. So I am looking for t, right? So I need to make this subject of the equation. So that will be 0.06t equals what? 2 minus what? 1. This 1 comes here, then it turns to what? Negative. When the positive value is crossing over the other side, it becomes what? Negative. So 0.06t equals what? 1. So what am I looking for? T. So my t will be what? 1 divided by 0.06. My t is going to be what? 1 divided by 0.06 will give us what? 16.67. Then approximately will give us 17 years. So your number of years, your time is not usually written as decimal. So that's why we have to round it off, approximate it to a whole number. That's 17 years. So that's number 2. Then number 3, very quick. I guess number 1 and number 2 has given us an idea of what or how we are to calculate for simple interest. Just take note, this is the formula that we are using in calculating for simple interest. Now, look at it, number 3. A trader borrows 70,000 naira at 5% for 5 months. For 5 months. What is the interest paid on the rate at the end of the period? So here they are asking us to calculate for our what? Interest. Now, the trader borrows 70,000. So that means our principal is how much? 70,000. Our interest rate is what? 5%. Then our time is what? 5 months. But remember, the number of years is usually annually, not monthly. So if the investment is to last for 5 months, it means that we have to prorate these 5 months. It's going to become what? 5/12 months. Because number of investments, the number of years an investment is to last is for years, not for what? Months. Then A will be what? 70,000 into bracket 1 plus R, that's 0.05 times 5/12. So A will be what? 70,000 into bracket 1 plus 0.05 times 5 is 0.25 divided by 12. So A is going to be 70,000 into bracket 1 plus 0.25 divided by 12 will give us what? 0.2083. So A will be 70,000 into bracket 1.2083. That's 1 plus this. So A will be 70,000 times 1.2083 will give us what? 84,581. But remember, we are calculating for interest. So what we have calculated here is amount. So what will be our interest? Interest is what? Amount minus what? Principal. So interest is, what is amount? 84,581 minus what? 70,000. So that will give us what? 14,581. So that is basically how to calculate for simple interest. So basic things we should note is that what? Number 1, our simple interest is for the total number of period the investment is to what? Last. not an annual interest. It is not an interest that is paid annually. It's an interest that is paid on a lump sum basis. So we pay it on the, like, in full of that period the investment is to what? Last. And another thing we should notice is what? The period of time an investment is to what? Cover for is annually. So when you have anything given to you monthly, you divide by what? 12. Are we together? So by the time we are having our classes, we'll get to understand more basics about simple interest. Simple interest. I will get to know who are those businesses or organizations that uses simple interest when giving out forms of investment. So the next one we are going to be looking at now is what? Compound interest.